What's up, guys? So, I just learned about the concept of vinyl tag from recent live stream of Notes reviews, and I thought, you know what, it might be fun to do a vinyl tag video of myself. I've got a bit of a collection going, and it'd be kind of fun to do. Now, you can't really talk about vinyl without, coming off as a hipster in this day and age, so I thought I'd get myself, a can of this Innocent Gun barrel-aged bourbon barrel Scotch ale, crafted in Scotland. So let's just crack that open. Oh yeah. Good stuff. Alright, let's begin. I counted 139 records, not counting anything that I've unsorted. I've got some 45 RPM singles as well that I'm not counting in this. 139 records. And that's records. That's not like counting the double or even triple LPs. That's just how many individual albums I have. My turntable is an Audio-Technica AT-LP60, which is pretty much the most basic turntable you can buy for $150 that isn't a Crosley. I've only been seriously collecting vinyl for the last few years now. I've bought records before this, but it's only been within the last 2 or 3 years that I've really started building up a collection. It's kind of hard to pin down what the oldest record I own is because, quite frankly, a lot of my record collection came from several boxes of old vinyl I purchased from a good friend of mine a little while ago, and I have a bit of a hard time actually kind of figuring out which one's the oldest. I mean, a lot of them are from the 70s and 80s, and there's some from the early 70s, but it's also hard to tell which ones are first pressings, which ones are more recent, that kind of thing. So I don't think I'll ever know the answer to that question for sure. My first record that I ever purchased, aside from any records that I may have inherited from my grandparents and ruined as a kid, was this copy of Muse's The Resistance. And I've ruined this copy pretty badly. I actually have a second copy on my shelf right now, but this was the first record that I owned that I can remember. That Muse record again. It's the first record that I paid for with my own money. I actually bought it from Records on Wheels here in Sudbury when they were still open. I had the choice of that record or the single for, Exogenesis, which was sort of the 12-minute symphonic closing track on the album, and they actually did that as sort of an exclusive single, and I decided to go for the full album instead of that. There aren't any questions about picture discs on this, so I decided to go for Tool's Lateralis, which, let's see if I can fumble this in front of you guys on camera, has the sort of, Lateralis cover artwork on the disc itself. I think it's beautiful. It's one of my favorite sort of modern prog metal albums, and I just love the way that they did the artwork on it. I don't actually have it downstairs with me, but I've got K-Tel's Southern Fried Rock. That just came in the boxes that I bought off of that good friend of mine, and it's the only sort of discount cheap compilation record I own. I would say my prized vinyl possession is my first pressing King Crimson Discipline. What's really cool about this one is that it has the original lead guitar parts in Mate Kudasai, which were deleted from all subsequent pressings. It's only this year or something that they're re-releasing the album, reissuing it as a box set, and they're putting that version on it as a bonus track. But if you wanted to hear it legally before that, you had to have this record. Sadly, I don't have too many strictly female artists in my collection. It's a fact that I sort of lament from time to time, being that, there are so many great female artists out there. I do have plenty of records from female-fronted rock groups like Delane, Battle Beast, and the like, but the one that's probably the most female-dominated is ABBA, which I have a copy of the ABBA album here, and it's the only ABBA album I own, sadly. I'm a big fan of ABBA, and I'd like to own more of their records. Another one is local band Cano, and this is just one of many of their albums. It's actually the only band I own a complete discography of, Au nom de notre vie, and it is fronted by Rachel Paiement. I probably butchered that pronunciation. I have a few records from my favorite band. Actually, I don't really have any records from Pain of Salvation, which is like the one band I'd rank over this, but Dream Theater is kind of the most important band in my life, and 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence is definitely my favorite album of theirs, and when I saw this at High Road Records in Sudbury, I absolutely had to pick this up. I would qualify nearly every single vinyl record I own as an impulse buy in some way or another, because quite frankly, I own most of these albums digitally anyway. There isn't really any reason for me to go out and buy these records, but I'd say that the one record that I own that was just kind of one of those, I saw it and I just had to have it right there and then, was Korn's debut record. This was definitely sort of that, I'm picking that up now and nothing's stopping me, even though I probably shouldn't. Sadly, I haven't received too many records as straight up gifts, but the one that does stand out as that was my copy of Harmonium's Leptade XL, which is the big box set version. 2 vinyls, art book, CDs, DVD, and just one of my all-time favorite Canadian prog rock records, and I got it as a birthday gift for something around $100. It was on sale at the HMV here in Sudbury when they were closing down and turning into Sunrise Records. I would say that my most played vinyl that I own is Delane's Human Contradiction. I've given this one many spins on my old Crosley turntable, and I think the sound quality of it has suffered for it. My rarest vinyl is probably that King Crimson release again. Electric Light Orchestra's Time, because it has the song Rain is Falling on it. Okay, I'm just messing with you. Boston's debut record. That's a feel-good record right there. I mean, how can you not feel good with tracks like More Than a Feeling, Peace of Mind, Long Time, Smokin'? Such a good record. Playing off the nostalgia factor, Boston's Third Stage, another Boston album, and this is a recent purchase too. This is probably the first album that I would qualify as being a favorite record of mine. Like, this is from even before I learned to play music. I was really into this record. I'd say this is probably the album that really sort of introduced me to music in general. I haven't really done too much record store day stuff before. I mean, I've only really been collecting seriously for the last couple years, so any sort of record store day thing, I probably missed it a while ago. But my only record store day release that I own a copy of is the 10-inch single of Rollo by Frank Zappa. It's just 2 tracks. It's Rollo on side A and Portland Improvisation on side B. My 2 most recent purchases are, again, 2 Dream Theater records. I got Dream Theater's When Dream and Day Unite, their debut album. I like that the album title is actually on the front on this, sort of as an homage to the actual original vinyl. I believe Notes Reviews actually owns an original copy of this, which is kind of cool. And I also picked up Falling Into Infinity, which a lot of people sort of qualify as the worst Dream Theater album, but I find this album is actually quite a lot better than a lot of people make it out to be. There are just some really good songs on this record, and it's kind of the one that I find Dream Theater was most accessible in terms of the guitar work. I mean, I'm a guitar player, and I still struggle with a lot of Dream Theater's most complex stuff. This is definitely the easy Dream Theater record if you're learning to play their songs on guitar. Anyway, that was the vinyl tag. That was a little bit of an exploration of my vinyl collection, and if you have any other cool questions, maybe some more questions that I could show off a bit more of my collection, anything that's sort of interesting, please feel free to comment down below, and I'll see what I can do. Anyway, this video is brought to you by this stuff. It's alright. Anyway, thank you for watching. Lauscho out.